Andromedan Souls. If you are an Andromedan soul, life has always felt like motion before form. You feel energy before words. You sense direction before structure. You move toward futures that others cannot yet imagine. Stillness has never been your natural state. Expansion has. From early on, you carried a feeling that you were not here to fit into existing systems. You were here to redesign them. You feel restless when confined, impatient with repetition, allergic to stagnation. When life slows down too much, your inner fire begins to dim. You need movement to breathe. Your lived experience is one of intensity and momentum. You feel emotions quickly, deeply, and in waves. You can fall into connection fast, igniting bonds that feel charged and alive. People often describe you as inspiring, catalytic, impossible to ignore. Your presence activates change, whether you intend it or not. At the same time, this intensity can feel overwhelming inside your own body. Your energy runs ahead of your relationships. Your vision runs ahead of shared reality. You may feel misunderstood not because you are unclear, but because you are already somewhere else. Waiting feels unnatural. Explaining feels draining. You often live with a sense of urgency, as if time is limited and potential must not be wasted. This can create inner pressure. You push yourself forward, sometimes faster than your life can safely reorganize around you. You burn brightly, but not always sustainably. Andromedan souls frequently feel torn between freedom and connection. You crave closeness, but resist anything that feels like containment. You want partnership, but not at the cost of your trajectory. You want to be seen, but not slowed. This creates a constant internal negotiation between movement and bonding. You are not chaotic by nature. You are directional. Your energy carries purpose, but purpose that unfolds dynamically rather than step by step. You sense paths before they exist. You trust momentum more than plans. If this resonates, it is because your nervous system recognizes itself. Your experience has never been random. It has been energetic by design. This video was created within the Starseed Soul Project, a system designed to bring clarity to inner patterns that are often mislabeled as chaos, instability, or inconsistency. It does not assign identities. It reveals architecture, not through belief, but through lived resonance and repeated experience. The Starseed Soul Framework exists to help you recognize how your inner energy organizes relationships, decisions, and direction. It does not slow you down. It helps you move with awareness instead of friction. For Andromedan souls, this distinction is essential. The core relationship pain for this soul is not lack of love. It is misalignment of pace. You move faster than emotional structures can form. You feel connection ignite instantly, but struggle when it asks for containment. You love through momentum, not maintenance. You often experience relationships as a choice between freedom and closeness. When connection deepens, you feel pressure to reduce your speed. When you slow down, your inner energy begins to compress. What others call stability can feel like stagnation to you. Because of this, you may unintentionally pull away at the moment when others lean in. Not out of avoidance, but out of self-preservation. You sense when a bond begins to limit your trajectory, and when that happens, your system reacts before your mind can explain it. This creates a repeating relational destiny. You attract partners who are fascinated by your energy, inspired by your vision, drawn to your intensity. At first, the connection feels electric, alive, expansive. But over time, the difference in rhythm becomes visible. They want reassurance. You want movement. They want structure. You want possibility. They want continuity. You want expansion. You may be told that you are too much, too fast, too intense, too difficult to keep up with. Or, on the opposite side, you may feel that others are moving too slowly, asking too much explanation, needing too much emotional grounding. Many Andromedan souls leave relationships not because love ends, but because momentum does. Staying begins to feel like self-betrayal. Leaving feels like relief mixed with grief. This pattern is not a failure of commitment. It is an unresolved negotiation between energy and relationship. This pattern is not random. In the Starseed soul system, relationships move through different frequencies, and not all of them are designed to slow you down. Some connections exist to stabilize, some to anchor, and some to accelerate growth without containment. For Andromedan souls, misunderstanding this often leads to self-judgment instead of clarity. You were not designed for relationships that require you to compress your energy in order to be loved. You were designed for resonance that can move with you. Understanding this is not about escaping intimacy. It is about recognizing which forms of intimacy expand you and which quietly exhaust you. The same energetic dynamic appears in money and material life. Andromedan souls rarely struggle with ideas or vision. You see opportunities early. You sense direction instinctively. But translating energy into stable material form can feel frustrating and slow. Money often comes in waves rather than streams. Bursts of income followed by periods of reset. Inspiration arrives faster than systems can hold it. You may start many projects, feel deeply excited, and then lose interest once the structure becomes repetitive or heavy. Routine drains you. Maintenance bores you. Long-term material planning can feel restrictive rather than supportive. And yet, the lack of grounding creates its own form of pressure. You may feel that your potential is always slightly ahead of your reality. This creates an inner conflict around value and embodiment. You know you carry something powerful, but you struggle to anchor it consistently. You may undercharge, change direction quickly, or abandon projects just as they begin to stabilize. Not because they fail, but because they begin to slow your momentum. There can also be a subtle belief that freedom and stability cannot coexist. That choosing structure means losing speed. That grounding yourself means betraying your nature. So you keep moving, even when part of you longs for continuity. Until this conflict is addressed, relationships and money will mirror the same lesson. Where can energy move without disappearing? Where can freedom exist without fragmentation? And where can embodiment become a support rather than a cage? This is not about forcing yourself into form. It is about finding forms that can move with you. The shadow point of the Andromedan soul is not instability. It is the fear of being slowed down by embodiment. Deep inside, there is an avoided truth that staying might cost you your edge. That grounding yourself will dilute your fire. That choosing continuity will quietly erase your freedom. Because of this, you may resist completion. You may leave just before things settle. You may abandon forms that begin to hold you, even when they support you. Not because you lack discipline, but because your system equates structure with loss of self. This shadow often hides behind confidence, behind vision, behind movement, but underneath it lives a subtle exhaustion. A sense of always being in transit, never fully arriving, never fully inhabiting what you have already created. The turning point for this soul comes when you realize that speed is not the same as freedom. True freedom is directional choice, the ability to stay without shrinking, to commit without compressing, to allow form to support energy rather than trap it. Maturity for the Andromedan soul is not about slowing down for others. It is about learning how to anchor without losing velocity. How to let logic refine your movement instead of interrupting it. How to let matter become an ally rather than a weight. As this integration happens, relationships shift profoundly. You no longer feel torn between closeness and expansion. You choose bonds that can travel with you, partners who are not threatened by your momentum, connections that offer presence without containment. In its integrated expression, the Andromedan soul becomes a living vector of evolution. You move forward with clarity instead of urgency, with direction instead of restlessness. Your energy no longer scatters. It organizes. You become capable of building structures that move, projects that breathe, relationships that expand rather than anchor you in place. Your logic sharpens your trajectory. Your embodiment stabilizes your reach. This is your higher expression. Not endless motion, but conscious momentum. Not escape, but forward embodiment. Not fragmentation, but aligned expansion. When energy, relationship, logic, and matter begin to cooperate, you stop running toward the future and start arriving inside it. If this resonates, you can explore your Starseed soul origin through the Portal 11.11. The portal offers a first layer of recognition without forcing identity or conclusion. It allows you to see your inner configuration clearly, without slowing your momentum or narrowing your possibilities. For Andromedan souls, clarity must remain spacious. The portal is designed that way. For those who feel ready to go deeper, there are activation transmissions created for each origin. These are not instructions. They are short guided experiences that help your energy reorganize itself without pressure. They support integration without containment, grounding without suppression, embodiment without loss of speed. Stay here for a moment. Let the movement inside you soften without stopping. You do not need to run forward right now. You do not need to arrive anywhere else. Your system can recalibrate while remaining in motion. You were never meant to fragment yourself in order to belong. You were never meant to compress your fire to maintain connection. Your nature is not to escape form, but to evolve it. To bring motion into structure. To bring life into systems that have gone static. When you allow yourself to inhabit what you create, something profound happens. Energy stops leaking. Relationships stop pulling you backward. Logic stops interrupting your flow and begins refining it. Matter stops feeling heavy and starts responding. This is the transmission of the Andromedan soul. Directed energy, conscious expansion, freedom that knows where it is going. You are not here to slow down. You are here to move forward without leaving yourself behind. Your origin has always known this. It carries a trajectory, and your destiny is not to arrive somewhere fixed, but to embody motion with clarity again and again.